Many millennia ago, there was a boy named Krishna Dwaipayana. Krishna because he was dark skinned, and Dwaipayana because he was born on an island. He lived on this island with his mother Satyavati, who was the daughter of the chief of the local fisherman tribe. His father was a sage named Parashara, who was a well learned sage and he was learned in the Veda. Dwaipayana was a bright boy, and like his father, he too wanted to learn the Veda. And so, when he was of an age, he left the island to pursue his studies. Not only did he study the Veda, but he also compiled it and arranged it into four different books, a system that is followed to this day. Now, you might be thinking, but this is about Mahabharata, so why are we talking about the Veda? There is a connection. Let me explain. The Veda is a text from ancient India, and it was very important to the people during the Vedic times. So much so that they considered it to be divine knowledge passed down from Brahma, the creator himself. Dwaipayana thought about the fact that the profound truths and messages found in the Veda are neither easily understood nor were they easy to access. You see, the Veda was composed in Sanskrita, a language that was not widely spoken, and it was transmitted to a select group of people who had to learn it via precise oral repetition so that it would be passed down through generations unchanged. And the unchanged part here was really important because they wanted to make sure to maintain the integrity of the text. So, as you can see, not really easy to access. But Dwaipayana had a plan. Dwaipayana wrote a poem about a family belonging to the Kuru dynasty, particularly about the dynastic politics between the cousins Kauravas and Pandavas. And in this story, he weaved the messages from the Veda, making it both easier to understand and easy to access. Dwaipayana composed the Mahabharata between 8th to 9th century BCE. He worked on it for a period of 3 years. He wrote 60 chapters, and with 8,800 shlokas or couplets, the book was called the Jaya or victory. After its completion, Dwaipayana passed down the stories to his students. He passed part of it down to his student, a Sauti or bard named Vaishampayana. Other Sautis are mentioned in the Mahabharata. Some of them are Romaharshana and his son Ugrashrava, and also Vyasa's son Sukha. Now, these narrators and others would retell the stories in various settings like temples, religious gatherings, social gatherings, and other places. And not only that, these stories were told in different art forms like paintings, songs, and dance. And in this way, the story spread far and wide. And with each retelling, it took on a new form. Narrators began to pad the story with details about genealogy, friends, family, allies, enemies, and great people. After some time had passed, the book began to be called Vijaya, and when it had about 24,000 shlokas, the book was called the Bharata, as the book contained stories belonging to the people of the clan Bharata. As time passed, with more and more retellings, more and more details began to be added to the Bharata. Details about geography, history, politics, spirituality, metaphysics, and so much more were added. With about 90,000 shlokas, the book was now called the Mahabharata, the great epic of the people belonging to the Bharata clan. Now, this process happened over a period of 1,000 years, and the story we know and love was completed in 4th century AD. Even after that time, the Mahabharata continued to spread and it continued to evolve. It has also been translated to many other languages like Odia, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and other languages. And each time the author would add their own flair. And so you can imagine it has gone through a few changes. This is how the book is structured. The Mahabharata is made up of different episodes or parvas. There are two ways to classify them, and depending on the type of classification, you can have either 98 parvas or 18 parvas. Each parva is made up of chapters or adhyayas. In all, there are 2113 adhyayas, and each adhyaya is made up of shlokas or couplets. And in total, there are 90,000 shlokas. The complete and original text consists of approximately 2 million words. And what you see in the book when you read this story is that a character in this story itself becomes a narrative of a second story within the first story itself. So, this type of narrative technique is called the story within the story or embedded narrative. And there are many such layers of stories within stories, and this is called nested stories. A note about the author and his connection to the Kurus. It is often said that the author of the Mahabharata is Veda Vyasa, and that is not exactly accurate. We know that the author of the Mahabharata is the sage Krishna Dwaipayana. So, who is this Veda Vyasa? Veda Vyasa is not a person, it is a title. Vyasa means to divide, and the title means the one who classified the Vedas. And there have been many other Vyasas in history, 28 in all. Krishna Dwaipayana Veda Vyasa is definitely the most famous of them all. In fact, he is the only Vyasa I know of. And he was a very accomplished person. Not only did he author the Mahabharata and classify the Veda, he also authored 18 major Puranas and the Brahmasutras. And he was also well connected. He is technically the grandfather of the Kaurava and Pandavas. He fathered their father, Dhritarashtra and Pandu, respectively, and he did this as per his mother Satyavati's request. Satyavati was married to the Kuru king Shantanu. So, as you can see, Dvaipayana was very closely related to the Kurus. He makes multiple appearances in the story itself where he helps out the Pandavas sometimes, and he is fondly referred to as grandfather. Dvaipayana essentially used the story of his own family to spread the divine message from the Veda. And he did it so beautifully. As the story progresses, you can see how the characters and situations are positioned in such a way as to include the divine wisdom from the ancient times.